Cool.
Nope, it's set. Okay, cool. So 2 ways to get customers in. Again, same as ski. Advanced reservations. Key factor here, if they're a smaller or they run out of inventory a lot, this tool of being able to go in and get dialed in for the frame size you're looking for is super good and makes it a lot easier for people that don't have a lot of inventory. It gets rid of people opening up a product and trying to book it when it's not available. So, and then our system works kind of like this. I'm going to pick a 1-day reservation. I'm going to pick a start date of the 1st. The second I do that, it's checking inventory. So this is my available inventory on that bike. And I'm going to throw some pedals on. And these are controllable fields. We have a bunch of fields you can ask here, but typically the basic for bike would be the rider name and then their height. And the reason we ask for the rider name, it's going to make signing the waiver considerably easier. And then we have some add-ons you can add. I'm just going to move through. Oh, that's going to find an error. Yeah.
Well, the validation works. There you go. I think it fixed it.
Yeah, the validation works. Okay, so in bike, we often put the waiver in front because it doesn't require any kind of settings to be confirmed. So the client's waiver would show up here where I have this text, and I'm just going to pop it open, sign, and our system will see the waiver sign, and now it's going to let us check out, and boom. We're done. It sent them an email, might have sent them a text if we had text messaging sent on, and boom, the job's done. Additionally, we have a kiosk that's no different. The main difference is most places want advanced reservations to have a time restriction, 24 hours, 48 hours in advance. Sure. And the kiosk is designed to book in shop, so you can book today's reservations. Additionally, the kiosk will run on a mobile device, so you can have a QR code and everybody that walks in the shop can check out on their phone.
Got it. So is the kiosk and the online tool sharing the same backend?
Yeah, everything's the same.
You can change them where...
We just set it so you can do the same day reservation. Yep.
Got it.
And then sometimes in the kiosk, we will turn off credit cards because they're going to manage it inside of their POS versus on our system. Rather, they're at the shop. Why have them pull out a credit card on the kiosk? On advance, it always makes sense to pop in a card. So, okay, especially for the admin. I'll walk you through the setup, and I have this set for tours and rentals, and we'll come back to that. I'll just walk you through rentals first. So for bike shops, it's pretty easy. Break down the different categories that they have. Time slots vary. It's funny. I did a demo for a shop in Bentonville yesterday. And for most people, they're doing like half day, 1 day, and multi-day rentals. And those are obviously the easiest to manage. The bigger locations, like anybody in Moab or somebody in Sedona, they shy away from this 24-hour rental. So a 24-hour rental, I can walk in the shop at 3 p.m. I can rent that bike from you, and I have it till 3 p.m. the next day. The problem with a 24-hour rental from our point of view is you're cutting your inventory by about a third, because when I book it for tomorrow at 3, I have now had to block it on the calendar for the day before up till 3 p.m. So it's a little tricky. Most shops don't do that. In Bend, Oregon, everybody does that. And then funny, the girl in Bentonville says she does both. She'll do mostly daily rentals, but they have a separate price point. The problem is the heat in Bentonville. People want to rent for the morning and then keep it and get a ride in the next morning and then return it. So
Yep.
she said she would use 24-hour slots, but it's very robust. It'll manage either one of them.
And
And then
something we've
after,
seen is the pick up the night before option. So you get a full day rental, but it's like an add-on that if the bike is available, you can pick it up the evening
Absolute
before.
Bike in Sedona does that. Yes,
Yeah.
they charge you $30 to take it overnight.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. So either one, either change your pricing based on 24 and daily, or you do an add-on and cover yourself that way. Either way works.
Okay. But just really quick on the pricing, it seems like you can do, and I had this as a question. Sounds like you can do hourly, half day, daily, weekly,
Yep.
and then incorporate discounts in there as well for the multi-day rentals.
Yes, that's already built
Okay.
in. When you go to a multi-day, you'll see when I get to the products, it'll show you
Got
those
it.
pricing points.
Got it.
So then in this product, pretty much attribute types are how we manage inventory. So frame size is the most common in bike, and for instance, that sandboard's in there because of the guys in Alamosa. I think I must have done a demo with them with this. And then you get to attribute values, and obviously with bikes, it's usually this type of layout with extra small through extra large. A lot of people, if I'm doing an SUP, it's just a standard size.
Mhm.
So the attribute value and the attribute type are pretty much the same in that case. And then you can have attributes for other things, like in this case, we're managing pedals from here. And then for kids' bikes, you can see they have this breakdown. So kind of any way you want to manage it, this is how we're going to manage inventory.
Got
This
it.
will all come together in a second. So when I look at add-ons, I can have as many add-ons as I want. And the add-ons can be controlled so they're only available for the admin. So a customer could not book it from the front end, but if they show up at the shop and they say, oh, by the way, do you guys have any bike racks? And you go, oh, let me check. Oh yeah, I do. And then you just add it onto their reservation on the fly. But the add-ons can be
Got it.
per reservation or per day. They can be on by default. So if you're doing something like damage insurance, that's a good one to turn on by default. I did this take a percentage of rentals. In Fruta, I have the over the edge guys, and they take 1% for trails. So, and that's default on.
Okay.
So when the customer checks out, by default, it's going to try to take that 1%. They can
Mm-hmm.
turn it off, but the goal is to raise money for their local trail building.
Very cool.
So, and then we have the option of going to radial buttons versus a quantity text box, and that's better for an on and off switch. So it's pretty robust. You can also add information text. So it'll put in a bubble for you when you get to that add-on saying, hey, by the way, this is how this works. So that'll just pop open as a pop-up
Sure.
as a tooltip.
Tooltip.
Throw in a
Cool.
picture, throw in a price, and boom, off to the races. Now, products, this is where it all comes together. I'm going to jump on that same Rocky Mountain element that I used in my test. We give it a name. We tie it to a category. We throw in some description. I'll come back to those 3 boxes in a second. Here's all my price points, and I have the ability to decide what I want to offer for that particular item based on what's here. So, you might have cruisers that you want to rent by the hour or half day, but on a mountain bike, you probably are not going to do a half day. So you're going to do a full day or a multi-day rental, or you could add 24-hour rental in there. So those are,
Got
and
it.
we actually have the ability, we have special pricing that if I turn it on in the settings, it'll give us another price, and you can show a sales price for any of these items as well. Okay, then.
One quick question on the multi-day rental. So sometimes outfitters will do first day is $75, second day onwards is 65.
Right.
Could you build in like custom pricing per day there?
Yeah, we've built
weekly
out crazy pricing. We'll match anybody's pricing, and that's included in our price point when we deliver the product.
Got it. So when you're setting up a shop, you're custom building these tiers.
Out of the box, our 1 day and multi-day, we would let you set when you want to turn on multi-day. So days, like we have some people that are days 1 and 2 are price X, days 3 and 4 are price Y. And some of those might say, oh, well, 1 and 2, we're going to charge you that rate for those days. And then when you hit 3 and 4, we're now going to charge you those days versus retroactively make them all the multi-days. So everybody's different. People don't really have what I would call a well thought out pricing scheme, but so we just adjust to whatever everybody needs.
Yeah, I think that's where the opportunity is going to be for this business, is to be able to flex your pricing by season, by weekend, weekday.
Right. We do, and we do weekend, weekday. I mean,
So that's
we'll
great that you
match.
guys have the ability.
Right. And most guys are going to say, sorry, this is what you get. You got to fit your system into ours. Our goal is always to make our system fit into your business. So
Awesome.
if you want driver's license, that's picking up a little bit. And I think I told you I've got this scanner I'm playing with right now that if you scan the back of any driver's license, it captures all the data, will populate the form and store the driver's license. It also verifies it's a real driver's license in the event there has been some fraud going on in the bike business where people are trying to steal bikes by renting them for the day with enough credit on their credit card to get out the door, and then they never come back.
No, I think that's crucial as these bikes get more and more expensive.
I don't think they can get much more expensive, but let's hope not. So
We'll
then
see.
if you didn't want to capture any of those questions I asked, you could click that, but we let you manage all these different questions. So if you want those questions to appear at the checkout, you just turn them on and off and boom, you can get all those questions.
Got it.
And then let's go back up to you can turn off booking for any product granularly. You can turn off booking for all products as well. But if they have some reason they want to turn off booking for a product, easy to do. Then we have the ability to link which add-ons you want for each product. And that's granular down to, oops, sorry, that always updates us to the full back. Hold on. And then we have in this product, we have a product URL. So I have some clients, let me see if this guy's up back. So this guy kind of controls his booking, and we literally have a URL where that he embeds the URL on the product. So he could show a Rocky Mountain element and have information here or rent this bike. And when you click on rent this bike, you're starting a rental process for that product. So this URL will give you the capability to let people book out, embed that into your website, and you can just book out directly from your website.
That's really great. So that's like a deep link at the product level.
Correct.
Okay, that's awesome.
And then connect attributes. This is how we manage the inventory. So in this case, we have 2 attributes related to it, and we're managing it with our frame size. So when I click here, this now takes me to the same place if I clicked clicked inventory here. So now I'm on my inventory for a Rocky Mountain element, and I have two extra smalls, 4 smalls, 5 mediums. If I wanted to add a new extra large, I just click here, and I'm adding a new product by putting in a unique unit number, a unit name, and a display order. So if I go back and I look, this is my actual inventory for that Rocky Mountain element. These are all the units I have. And these units will all end up populating, a rental calendar, which we're going to come back to. So this calendar, most clients have this up all the time. And so those are the items that we've added in there. And we load it. This is a slow loading product. So I'm on a phone, so let's see how fast it loads. It takes, that was 10 more rows. So you can set it to load multiple different ways, but by default, we just load the first 10 rows and you go from there. So it makes it faster.
So typically if somebody gets a walk-in customer, the shop might have this open and would be the easiest way to take a look at their inventory.
What's available, or over the phone. You're looking at this on the phone, and they're
phone.
looking for a particular product. It's really easy to see the day, and you
Sure.
can just start a booking from right here. Just go boom, and now I'm starting to take a reservation.
Cool. That's awesome. 'Cause that's probably what the outfitters are using most often. And
I would say they're either working from the calendar. If the customer walks in, they might direct them to fill out on their phone, or that I know in Thunder Mountain they're doing it. Say, hey, just log in with your phone and go ahead and check out. So back to rental setups. Let me jump into, I'll get to inventory this way. So there's that Rocky Mountain element. It shows me that I got 15 total units. I'm going to open it up. So now if I go down and I look at these units, I pick on this one a lot because I book it a lot. So if I click the eyeball, that's everybody that's ever rented that unit, the total days rented, and the dollar volume generated. And all this data is exportable at any time. So you can export it out and you can use it for your own marketing tool at any time.
That's super cool. And then I'm sure you might get to reporting later on too, but is there different reporting that can pull the same data, or you have to go through the inventory to try to pull these?
Some of it's there. I mean, I think we always need to add more reporting. It's just, I don't spend time there until somebody asks for something, to be honest with you. We just feel so busy that we're always doing something else. But we build reports, like customers will say, hey, we need this special report. So sure, we'll build it. And if I
Sure.
think it's good for me, I'll absorb the cost. And if I think it's too unique to them, I'll charge them.
Got it.
So this is an inventory of, that's that Rocky Mountain that I looked at, the 003, a unit name. It's a Rocky Mountain element, frame size, all this data is here. Super cool feature for the people. They're not doing it this year, but if they're selling inventory after, like, so I go out for a bike ride, I come back and say, I want to buy that bike right now. I can just go to that bike. This will find all future reservations against that bike. It'll allow you to pull a new bike out of a wrapper and add a unit number and a name, and it'll push all reservations to that new bike.
That is really cool, because that's the
So
biggest. That's awesome.
for example, for the people at Thunder Mountain, Mike Curtin said, Mark, that is a 5 to 10 hour task for me every time we sell a bike.
Wow. And if you know that that future reservation's far enough out, you might be able to, in a perfect non-COVID environment, you could even replenish it with a new bike, start demo renting, that
Right.
one.
Or you can move
which
it
is
to
really
other
cool.
bikes. So you can select
Yeah,
inventory that you have and you can bounce it over to that inventory. So
that's cool.
either or, it's a super cool feature. We built it out of the blue and then I show it to everybody. They're like, wow. And then we have a maintenance log. So, and I'll show you where this plays in later, but you have all these, you can add a maintenance item at any time if the bike's getting worked on, and you control all these settings, whatever you want to add in here. And then you can also block a bike for any date range. So if you were having a 4th of July special demo days and you didn't want any bikes out, literally you can block all the bikes for a specific date range, either granularly or all bikes together. We have both features. And then the maintenance I mentioned, you can set up all the maintenance items you want. And then we of course support coupons, and you can make any kind of coupon that you want and have it active, etc. So that's kind of the setup to get it up and running so you can function. The flow is kind of like this. We have a dashboard you land on. You can see what your reservations are like. If I go to rental reservations, we break this out. Today's reservations, today's returns, tomorrow's reservations. And to give you an example, this is something that the people in Thunder kind of pushed me on too. This was huge for them. So if I have, let's say, make believe this is tomorrow's reservations, and I've got 20 reservations here. I can click print tags, and it'll print a tag for each bike going out with the customer name and all the details. And what they do every night is they look up tomorrow's reservations, they print the tags, it goes through a receipt printer that auto cuts, so that it'll kick a batch print job, print them all, cut them all. They just grab the tags and they staple them onto the brake lines. So now when the customer comes in the morning, they know which bike is which customer. Super easy.
That's huge. I think that's where the bottlenecks happen. The customer
Right.
comes in. I think that's a huge time saving and labor saving component in
It's huge.
customer experience. Yeah.
What they used to do with the flybook is they had to take their reservations for the flybook for the next day. They would export them out to a CSV file. They would import them into another program. They would print it, and then they would manually cut with scissors each line. So yeah, we save them and I talked to a shop the other day. They said that's 2 hours of work every night that we do. So we condensed it into like a 10-second job.
Have you, on that point, and I had this later, we can cover this later too, but time savings that comes out of a shop, labor savings, by switching to an online booking system when they haven't had one. I feel like I know that's huge just based on my experience at the Home Depot in the rental um, space. But I think a lot of shops don't fully value the what they're going to gain in terms of labor savings and task
Yeah, Rhett,
savings.
they have no clue. They, for the
Do you have
guys that
any
aren't
like
doing it, they
idea
just
based
have
on
no
what
clue.
outfitters tell you, like, hey, I've saved this many hours, or that we could share back, or
Yeah, I mean, we could get some stuff. I think I have some quotes from the people at Thunder Mountain. I know for a fact this is a savings of like 2 or 3 hours for one staffer. And what's worse, it's just dumb work, right? It's just sitting there cutting with a scissors. I mean, if you can do all that work in half the time or 1/10 of the time, it's huge. So
and what we like to remind, it's, I think you don't have to not hire that person, but it's what that person is going to be doing. No,
right, they could be doing something a little bit more
sales,
useful for you.
right? So we look at like tasking hours versus sales hours,
Yep.
and if you can spend that time instead of doing paperwork and getting credit cards and doing all this manual stuff, but instead you could be talking to them about the bike or the new helmet or how they're going to get fitted or the trails. That's just going to create such a better user experience and customer experience that it's a win-win for everyone.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean those are the things I push. Whether they understand the values when I'm pushing it, I don't know. So I'm going to jump into one of these reservations. Let's see this one. So on the reservation detail page, this is where I really excel. You can change any value here. And here's an example of that tag, by the way, and we can customize these. Customer name, what the unit number is. And like I added some stuff on for, oh, who was it? Somebody asked for something the other day. Oh, when the return date was and stuff. And we can easily add that stuff on there. So,
Got it.
okay. So I can update any of this data for the customer here. I can see it was booked from the front end. I can print a form at any time. It'll show the details. I can edit the date. The customer calls, says, hey, I need to move to another date. You can edit the date. It'll stop you if you try to pick a date that's not available. I can add another product. Oh, my girlfriend came along. I need to add another bike. I can add a bike to this reservation. I can apply a discount. I screwed up, something's wrong. Let's give you a 10% discount. Boom. I can change the bike to another bike. So, I mean, literally, you can go in and do almost anything. You can add more add-ons to this bike. I can change the price. So at no point do they have to say, oh crap, I have to delete this reservation, refund them, and start over. They should always be able to work within here and make this reservation work for the customer.
Got it. And our cancellations and refunds all handled through here as well?
It is. I'll show you that in a second. Down below, we show you all the emails or text messages that were sent, and you can resend them on the fly. You can send a custom email. You can send a custom text message. You can send an update. So if I change anything on this and I just want to send them an email with updates and click that, boom, it'll send another email.
That's awesome. And that's through your own system. They don't need to have another
They're going to get a
mail
Mailgun
service,
account. I push almost
mail gun.
every client to have a Mailgun account. And we start them on our Mailgun account because it takes a little bit of work to get the DNS settings set for Mailgun. But because we're sending from our server to their customer, we have to authenticate our server for their DNS. And once we do that, they get about a 95% delivery rate. We love Mailgun. It's a great product.
Okay, I'll look into that as well.
Yeah, it's yeah, I've got, I use it for all my accounts. It's a great transactional email sending tool. And I rarely see bills. I mean, what happened was I put a lot of my clients, and it's very hard to get them to complete their DNS work to get the mail gun working for them. So they'll use mine. Like I looked down one day and I had like 100 clients on my mailgun account. So I started seeing little bills of like $10 and stuff, which I don't care. But at the end of the day, they're not getting good delivery because they're still using a Rezo Systems email setting, and it really should be something that reflects their domain.
Their domain name. Okay, cool.
So, but again, you can communicate easily from here. And then if I go to billing information, we create a customer profile. We always show what they paid. So if I added something onto this, it would show an amount pending. I can always take payment, and I just click here and add an amount, and boom, I can charge.
So you're charging an additional amount there?
Yep, I just charge an additional amount. I can refund.
So for any damages that happen to the bike or they're late,
damages, late returns, whatever, they do not have to go
Okay.
somewhere else. I'm going to do a refund now. You'll see what one of those looks like. Oh, not settled. Oh, that'll refund the whole thing. So I'll go ahead and do it. If it's inside of 24 hours and it hasn't settled, it'll cause a huge refund. So there's the full void. So very easy in our system to see what's happening. You can see how much they owe, $70, because that $10 I didn't void, but that other amount's there. I mean, it's hard for them to get lost. We'll always show them what's happening.
Sure.
And then lastly,
so
the wave
integrated as well.
It is integrated with Lightspeed. I'm working out some final details with them, but I don't anticipate any problems.
Got it.
So if for some reason they didn't sign the waiver, in this case they did, here's my name, the date and time I signed, the IP address I was at, and then my waiver signature. I can send a waiver by email to their phone or to anybody's phone on the fly.
Got it. For them to sign.
Yep, super robust to make sure everyone signed waivers. So here's the process kind of in the shop. Customer comes in. Oh, let me lock this open. And I'm going to go to tomorrow's, I think it's upcoming reservations. I'm going to open one of those because that one's already checked out. And I could just go here and click checkout, or you can go in here and I can say equipment picked up, put in my initials and hit save. Or if I'm here, I just go checkout. So we're making the client go through a checkout process with the customer, which is natural in the bike business, right? They check over the bike, they show them everything, and they make sure the customer's checked out. The only thing different that we have here that I don't have turned on is barcode reading. And by the way, I'm on a tight schedule. We might have to reschedule. First off, I had to book dinner at my favorite restaurant in the world tonight in Asheville, but the only time slot was 4 o'clock. So I have to go to that, but I have a 2:30. So I'm going to condense this a little. I'm sorry if I have to cut you off, but we will book more time if you have it.
That's totally fine.
Cool. So we also have barcoding that forces them to scan a barcode on a bike to check this out. I have it turned off, but in this case, I'm just going to check it out. So once I do that, the bike is checked out. And so they're automatically pushed over to rental returns. So all bikes that are checked out will automatically turn out in rental returns. And if I had barcoding on, it's waiting for me to scan, and that'll find that reservation super fast. And the reason we're doing barcoding is for people like Fruta and Thunder Mountain that are doing 70 to 100 bikes a day. Their pain point is when it comes to the end of the day, everyone's returning all these bikes, right? So there's 70 customers in the shop between 5 and 6, and it's a total shit show. So by doing this with an iPad, I could scan it, bring up the bike, look it over and say, yep, that's all good. And I'm just going to check them in. So the check-in process, I pop in my initials. If it's good, I just click here. Actually, this is fast. I can just click there and that'll close it. I can click here. But if it needed repair, something's broken, I can assign the work to be done at this point in time and block dates on the calendar so that bike can't be booked. So it'll let you know either way if that bike is good or not. I go here, click mark is good, and now that whole process is complete and that bike's checked back in.
Got it. What's the forced return to inventory?
So if it's an early return, so I had that bike till 5 p.m., but I decided to return it at 1 because I'm tired. Now I can rent that bike immediately. Otherwise, the calendar would be blocked.
That's great to hear. That's a pain point with some of the other software.
Yeah,
But one of
we
the
let you,
outfitters just brought that up.
yeah, we let you force it. And then back to my calendar. Um, Here you can see the reservation details. If I click on it, it's going to take me to that reservation, as well as you can dive into any given day and you can go to an hourly view. So if you are doing hourly sales, come on. So now I'm on an hourly view of that day and I get to see
Got it.
that.
Super cool.
I don't think I have anything there now. And you can block inventory and show it like when I showed you before. Like the Fruita guy added a bunch of inventory and we had to add a little button to mark it not available because it's inventory that he's bought, but it hasn't been delivered yet. So when that becomes active, I just click the active button and these are now available to rent.